Double9Radio. It's always amazing to have you on the show. It's 35NSocial. We have the amazing Lady B here with us as well. We are live here on Double9Radio. It's 1803 2202 2025. Lady B, how you doing today? Radio. It's always amazing to have you on the show. It's 35NSocial. We have the... How you doing today, Lady B? Sorry about that. Hopefully
Um,
you can hear me okay.
Yeah, I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm fine. It's one of those days, isn't it? It's just one of those days. It's a bit of a hectic start to the weekend. But what can we
Yeah.
say? We're quite happy to be back here on Dominar Radio, as always, bringing you amazing stuff as well. If you're listening to us live, you can also watch us on YouTube as well. As you know, we're always there to give you amazing vibes live and direct as well. And you get the chance to see the amazing Lady B as well. And I must say, you also get the chance to see who Dominar is, all the voices you've been hearing all this while. It's there live on Double9Radio. Hope you're having a great weekend as well. As you know, the show is always interactive, so you can always be part of the show on 074 956 368 99. That's 074 956 368 99. Lady B, it's the Divine Social. What have we got for us today? I'm excited. I'm always excited when we have Lady B on the show as well. I'm always wondering what she got for us. What's she going to give us today? What are we talking about today, Lady B? Okay.
Yeah.
Technology is going to be. Can you hit? Yes. What are we talking about today, Lady B? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have a bit of technical issue today. This is uncommon, but what can we say? We can hope that this is resolved as soon as possible. Yes, Lady B, you're back with us. So what have you got for us today on the show? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, today I think we'll talk. Yes, do we have Lady B back with us?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear now.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about glass prisons and asking our listeners if they are in one or they're admiring one. That's quite a very interesting topic because when I posted it, a lot of people were asking me, "What does it mean? What does glass prison mean?"
I
Very
know.
curious.
Yeah. I mean, I've been having the same as well. People have been wondering, what is a glass prison? I'm thinking to myself, a glass prison. And we will be finding out what a glass prison today is, hopefully, as we dive into the show as well. But as you know, the show is always interactive, so you can always be part of the show on 074 956 368 99. That's 074 956 368 99. So, Lady B, from your perspective, what is a glass prison? When you say glass prison, what are we talking about?
Hmm.
Mhm.
So glass prison is actually is actually a metaphor,
Yeah,
right? It's actually a metaphor to indicate that someone is in a trapped or very restrictive situation. And of course, we're talking about dating and social life. So in relation to relationship, we're talking about when someone is in a trapped or restrictive relationship,
yeah,
but it's not very obvious to the people outside. So kind of like a glass prison, like for people looking outside, from the outside world, from the outside view, they can't really see what you're going through.
mm,
Um, but you can see what you're going through. You can feel your feelings, you know what you're experiencing. So it's kind of like you're stuck behind clear walls. You can see the freedom and everyone assumes you're fine, but
yeah.
you're not. So that's what we mean by a glass prison.
Amazing. I think it's so common, and a lot of people don't really pay attention to it, because it's so common out there. The typical example is when we see things about people in relationships, your admiring relationships, exactly something on Instagram, for example, and you're
Yeah.
thinking, oh my God, they look so perfect, they look so amazing, they look so nice. But the thing is she in a glass prison? And
Mm.
you're admiring that glass prison itself. I mean, I've had because you've mentioned this topic to me earlier, and I thought about it, for quite a while. I'm thinking to myself, it's so obvious to talk about, but to make sure we actually get our point across, we have to pick on, various aspects of this topic as well. Do you know what I mean? Because there's always this perceived transparency, because when someone looks at a relationship, as you mentioned now, you're perceiving, you're actually seeing the reality of that
Yeah.
actual relationship, but it's not. as it, it's not appears, what you see is not what you get, basically, in a way. But I mean, why do you think people sometimes get into this kind of a, should we say, glass prison?
Hmm. I think the answer that comes straight off my mind is the fact that, we live in the modern age. We live in a social media age where people want to create an idea of an illusion of happiness.
Mm,
I don't think anyone wants to sit down on a TikTok video of, somebody whining about their lives, complaining, seeking, things like that. People want to portray that they're happy, right?
mm,
People want to make it seem like their life is perfect because, on top of all your imperfections, you don't want a random person on social media making more comments to tell you about how imperfect your life is. So
mm.
a lot of people on social media, celebrities, they come with the idea that I need to present myself as happy. I need to present myself as satisfied. I need to present myself as contented, even though that's not really the case. I know there are a lot more reasons, but from your perspective, why do you think people would stay in a glass prison?
I mean, thank you for that question. Really, when you're talking, they kind of hit me, that we kind of admire things without knowing the foundation of relationships, without understanding the dynamic behind relationships, and it's something that it's very common. Again, I mentioned that as well. I mean, your question, why do people stay in those type of relationships? I think sometimes it's more of like, you know, as you mentioned, wanting to portray a certain lifestyle, wanting to
Mm,
portray a certain status. You talk about the current trend within the society now, where people are focused on perceived to be excelling, to be perceived to be successful. Look at me, Instagram is a typical example where everyone goes out there and start posting about, I've been to this restaurant, I'm having this meal, my boyfriend took me here, my boyfriend took me there, you know,
yeah.
I'm going on holiday, I'm doing that. It all comes down to creating an illusion of freedom,
Mm,
you know. Do you know what I mean? Because if we deep dive into the reality of that perceived transparency, because the Instagram creates this, you know, transparency, false transparency of,
mm,
look at my life. You know, you're looking at the glass from outside. You as an individual who's now wishing, oh my God, I want my boyfriend to do that as well. But the thing
mm,
here is, it might seem like the relationship offers the freedom
mm,
or open communication. But in reality, the individual may feel trapped in there. But
yeah.
back to your question, why do people stay in a glass prison? Because of some of the benefits, isn't it? Those
Yeah.
benefits of being able to be financially dependent,
Mm-hmm.
not being able to take responsibility of your own development or of your own struggles, kind of thing. You're so
Mm,
dependent on an individual, both financially, sometimes emotionally, and also to save your social status within the society as well. So all of that brings you to accept what you have or what you experience within a glass prison. You become
yeah.
you could become emotionally isolated because now you don't want to express or tell your friends or your family and say to them, you know what, if you knew what the reality was, but they can see that, wow, you're looking amazing. Your skin is shining. You're carrying
Mm,
Gucci bags. You're going on holiday every so and so kind of thing. But the thing is, the relationship lacks intimacy.
mm,
I mean, do we think? Let me bring that back to you. Do we think it's mostly females that would be dwelling within this glass prison, or do we have a balance of people of male and female in this glass prison? I mean, Lady B, what do you say? Again, the phone lines are open. It's 074 956 36899. You can call us direct on that number, send a text or a WhatsApp, or call us via WhatsApp as well. 074 956 36899. What, Lady B, what do you think?
That's a tough one because I don't have like the data to back up, that question. But I would assume that women are mostly the ones in the glass prison. So just as you said, someone might remain in a glass prison because of the financial dependency they have on their spouse or on their partner. And when you talk about that, right? What do we think about? We think about women who are married or their relationships with, rich men, and it appears to be all perfect on the outside, and everyone is like, oh, I wish I found a very rich older man that would marry me and take me out of, poverty. But you don't really know what they're going through in that relationship. But that's not to say that people with those kind of examples don't have happy marriages. It's just an example. So I would assume that women are usually the ones in the glass prison for whatever reason. Um, I think there will be some men in that situation as well, but when you think about the victims of like abuse, gaslighting, manipulation, violence, women are usually, more on the receiving end of that. And that's why I
Mm,
would say
mm.
that
Yeah.
most women will probably be the ones in the glass prisons.
I mean, I love the fact you know your first point was like I don't have the data to back this up, which is quite correct. We don't have the actual data. We're all doing a bit of research and trying to ascertain uh, who or what gender would mostly be in a glass prison. But out there, the consensus could be possibly possibly that females would find themselves more in that in that situation. But the thing is, it's not that we don't have males in that situation. We do have males in that
Yeah,
situation.
we do.
You know,
Yeah.
for certain things that could happen or certain situations that find themselves. But I mean, let's dive a bit deeper into how do you recognize whether
Mm.
you are in a glass prison? At least you already know. Do you have, are you emotionally isolated? Oh, okay. We have a call already coming through here on Double 9 Radio. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. It's Double 9 Radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
And my name is Iris, and I'm from London.
Ella Eris, how you doing? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for picking up the
Fantastic.
phone.
So, have you got a
Really
comment
appreciate
or a question?
it. I don't have really a question, but I have an experience to share, maybe to enlighten you, um, guys, about because I feel like I have been in a glass prison relationship before, and
Wow,
maybe give
wow,
my experience on my perspective.
that is so
So
great. Firstly, I want to
yeah.
say a big thank you for actually calling in and
Yeah.
looking to share your experience with our listeners. I think it's quite important, to spread this kind of information so anyone out there can know what the experience is like and understand how to maybe come out of it if they need. So please tell us. We're all ears.
First of all, I wanted to say like I've been listening from the beginning, but like I wanted to talk about the different stage of the glass prison. When you're in a glass prison, you don't instantly know you're in a glass prison because there's no bars and it's glass. Everybody outside is telling you you're in a perfect situation. So even when problems occurs, like everybody's making excuses because you have those advantages that is not usually common in relationship.
Yeah.
So they will kind of tell you like, fuck it up, it's relationship, just because they have that envy for you. So I was in a relationship with somebody that was much older than me. Um, so they instantly had that financial stability. And so they would put that forward very much so. So, gift, trips, um, tell me, name it, I have it. I say it, I have it. And that life is so good. Like you're just like, yes, you call your boo and he's just sorting out everything. You don't really think of work, you just think, life is great. I'm able to do anything. But then after, the euphoria and everything, you realize, okay, cool. When everybody's at work, what are you doing? You know,
Hmm.
because you can't
Wow.
always hang out with your friends. So you become isolated because your lifestyle is different. And so you start speaking to him about it, and then he's gonna tell you, no, but it's because they don't have the same life as you. So he's encouraging that isolation because that's the first steps to what's gonna come. Um, you're not gonna get to see him because you've got all the excuses in the world. But the money is to compensate. The cheating, let's not even talk about the cheating. And even when you talk about the cheating around you, everybody's telling you to basically suck it up. That's men. That's how it should be. Like, come on, you was in Paris last week. You was in Portugal 2 weeks ago. But then you lack an extreme amount of emotional connection, like extreme amount. And you're such an like you put everything on hold because your lifestyle is different and you miss so much on everything. Like life is not real. It's not real. First of all, the money is not yours, so it's not real. And they always make sure to give you enough to keep you there, but not enough for you to be free.
Mm.
If I was to tell you, like, I want to buy a house, it's
Yeah.
going to be, oh, let's go and view it. And then, oh, there's a problem with this. But if I say I want a Birkin bag, it's going to come out.
Wow. Wow. Well, just to keep you there, isn't it? Not allowing you to progress forward, or just
100%,
keeping you
100%.
in a shell. But please carry on. I mean, carry on.
Yeah, so that was basically it. And every time you want to be talking about it or sorting it out, um, they don't want to. And when you like scream you're gonna leave, that's when the grand gesture starts happening and you're swayed back in. Now it's very hard. It's very hard to leave a glass prison because even when you leave, sometimes you come back because coming back to reality. Imagine, I think we was together for about 2 years. Um, After the first 7 months, I tried to leave, and really and truly, I was thinking, I don't want to go to work. I don't.
Wow.
I don't want to go to work. I want to be going to trips. I want. So it's like it's a battle with morals and like reality. You're constantly battling yourself because yeah, you have everything there ready for you, but it's not really, not only it's not really yours, but you don't know how to manage it because you don't know how to get it. So you think it's normal to spend £10,000 on a shopping trip,
Hmm.
which is not. It's not. In real life, now that in the life that I'm doing and everything that I'm doing, £10,000 is not what I used to use it on. Do you
Of
get what I
course.
mean?
Yes.
But it,
Yes.
it delays you like tremendously in your self-development as well. When you decide to leave, you have to start from the beginning.
Wow.
And you have expensive habits that you can't fund anymore. So sometimes some people they just can't hack it and decide to stay.
Hmm.
And the more you stay, the more conditions come because you're completely dependent on that person.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. I'm seeing Lady B's about wants to come and wants to say something to you. Please,
Yeah.
Lady B, the floor is yours.
I mean, that was such a beautiful, insight. It just gave me more insight to the topic we're talking about. And
Mhm.
I wouldn't have thought about it that way unless for now that you've actually shared your story. So thank you so much for sharing
Oh,
your story with us. And yeah, I think what I just realized from what she said is basically the fact that sometimes, people in a glass prison would find it so much more difficult to leave because the society even encourages them to be in that prison.
Mhm.
So imagine that you're suffering and people are telling you, well, your situation is better than mine. At least this person is, giving you money. You have, all this luxury
Absolutely.
whenever you want it. But you want to leave and you're telling them, oh, I'm being abused, I'm being neglected, but you can't even leave because your family supports it, your friends support it, and it's just like you don't even like, are you making the right decision? And it just puts, someone like, you who've shared your experience, just put them in such a difficult situation. Like they want to break free, but the society also encourages you to be in that prison. But I have a question, for you because you've experienced it,
Mhm.
and I believe that you've grown from that experience, and
Yeah.
you've taken your bit from it. But what would you think, or what would you say if someone were to say that love and control can coexist?
Ooh, It's a very, very controversial topic you just threw there. Um, I feel like love and control cannot coexist because if you love someone, you leave them, you make sure they're free and truly happy. I feel like once you control for your own personal happiness and not the
Mm,
others. So are you really loving or being selfish?
mm.
Wow. Wow.
Do you see where I'm coming from? So if you love
Yeah.
me, you would want me to be free and happy, even if it's at your own expense. Yes.
Yeah.
Right now, like for example, in my class present, it was money, for example, right? It's because I don't have it. That's why you're able to manipulate me.
Mm,
Like when you was asking the question about can men be in a glass prison? For a long time, I believe men used to be in glass prisons where because they couldn't self-sufficient themselves, they wouldn't know how to clean, cook, and stuff like that. They would stay in relationships just to have that comfort, kind of.
Amazing.
So it's for you to be able to go and get what you want by yourself
yeah.
without finding it in somebody else. Because as soon as that person finds out that, oh, that's what you need, you become their slave, kind of. Because
Mm,
you depend on them,
yeah.
Wow.
if you get it.
I don't know if Double Nine has something to say because I've got another
I,
question actually.
I mean, you know what? I'm listening to you two ladies. It's no, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. It's such an eye opener. I was gonna ask in addition to what what you've said, um, so when your partner, or the person you're in a relationship with, when they were buying you gifts and giving you, what you wanted, just enough, just as you said, not enough to get to buy your freedom. Like if you wanted to buy a house or you wanted to buy a property, and he was saying no, but if you wanted a bag, he would get it for you. So when he was buying you these gifts, did that emphasize or re-emphasize his love for you, or it just got to a point where at what point did you know that this was a form of control?
Because that's not how I realized that's not how he was showing me. That's not how he shows love. I
Hmm.
realized there's a difference with abilities and showing love. Because he
Hmm.
had the ability to do it, is not that doesn't mean he was doing it because he loved me. He had the ability to do it. It wasn't hurting his pocket. When you do things out of love, sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it's a sacrifice. It was never a sacrifice. All of the materialistic things was not a sacrifice or anything like that. He was doing it because he could keep me there. It was just an element of
a
control.
form of
But the
control, you
times
say?
where there was love, I could feel it. It was different.
Hmm. That's
Wow.
so
Wow.
beautiful.
Amazing. I mean, my question would be, I mean, firstly, again, Iris, thank you very much for calling it. I know it can be quite difficult to sometimes
Mhm.
share something so dear to you as well. I mean, if you look back, to the when you were in that situation and within that glass prison, as we described it now. I mean, what would you say the impact on your mental health was? Were you able to function as normal? Did you struggle sometimes? I mean, did you feel confined in some situations? I mean, you mentioned a bit of limitations when you
Yes.
wanted to or do certain things. You felt limited because obviously your dependency was on
Yes.
this partner. So, I mean, what was that impact like on your mental health?
Um, I guess it's because the way my mind worked, that's why I felt like I needed to go. But
Hmm.
when you're in a glass prison, you have a lot of like co-inmates, a lot of women that is in the same situations, i.e. the friends of the wife of the friends of my partner. Like we all kind of there's a lot of us, you know what I mean? So there is kind of like a support group, but it's a toxic support group type of thing. Um,
Hmm.
it's not we're not really advising correctly each other because some of them are completely brainwashed. Some of them like we don't have the same aspiration in life. So that was also impacting my mental health because I was not understanding what they were saying. Talking to my friends, that as well didn't work out because it was I talk to you and tell you how much I suffer, but behind my back you try to talk to my man because you
Wow.
think, oh, you can't handle it. Let me just
Let me try.
since you don't know what you have type of vibe.
Mm, yeah.
So they would go behind. So nobody is really listening to you. And so you find escapes. So you try and do trips or going out a lot, um, spending a lot. But you be like, when you realize it, you acquire all this stuff, but you have nothing to show for it. So it doesn't make
Mm,
sense. Like you have all of the material, but you have no tangible assets, anything like that. So you become his thing. Like the day he tells you, I'm not giving you money, you're just looking at him and you're gonna have to beg him. So you're always on eggshells. You're always uncertain. If he's in a bad mood, then you're in a bad mood too. So
mm.
it's very, very
Wow.
complicated.
Wow. I mean, Iris, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you
Oh,
calling
thank
in. I had
you.
to say that twice because it's double here, double now already coming through. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, a big thank you to you. There, thank you very much. Really appreciate you calling and giving us, your insight into. I'm sure it can, as you know, it's not been easy, but we're glad you've been able to come out of that glass prison
Thank
and move forward with your life. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
you.
I mean, Lady B, that's it is quite a touching story, and
Yeah, it is.
it captures everything, everything that I have thought about. It captures the perceived transparency, because it's like she's out there, she's going on holiday, she's going to eat, she's buying stuff, buying all of that. So it seems like everyone can see what's going on. Everyone seems it's like, oh, it's a transparent type of situation. She's all right. She's going okay. And you mentioned about the family and friends or the support group, who says, and she said it as well, like, suck it up if she complains about anything. And that's where she's not becoming emotionally isolated now, because now she can't share her emotions with anyone, because if she shares what she's actually feeling with anyone, it's like, no, what's wrong with you? You're right. You're doing okay. I wish I had what you have. So that's
Mm,
people looking in from the outside into the glass prison because they're seeing all these amazing things. Then also she also mentioned about the illusion of freedom. There's this illusion of freedom, thinking, oh, I'm free to travel.
yeah.
I'm, I can stay home, I can relax, and all of that. But the thing is, now you get to a point you become bored about it. But the
Yeah.
reality is, you don't have anyone to have that conversation with. Your own space.
Mm-hmm.
It's an illusion. You're not actually free to do stuff, because now you want to go somewhere, you want to do something, you have to tell someone or explain why you need to do that as well. If
Yeah.
you can't do it. It's something that's holding you, like it's imaginary, but it feels like you're free, but you're not really free. I mean, also talked about the connection. That, yes, the connection is there sometimes. It's very fragile, isn't it? It's a very fragile connection. Sometimes she feels the love, and sometimes it's not love. It's just more of a control. So the fragility of the connection also is something that you mentioned as well. I mean, w- it's it's quite shocking. I mean,
Yeah.
we are talking from the perspective of people within or in a glass prison, but we need to also look at people on the outside. But before we, go into that more, I mean, what are your thoughts about more what she's actually shared with us today?
I mean, she shared a lot actually. Just as it was a very, touching, story that she shared, and very courageous of her to have shared that with us on radio.
100%.
But yeah, I mean, basically everything that you said, how, people in a glass prison, some of them do want to break out, but you have the system around you, so the support you have around you, your family, your friends, they're toxic. So you can't really talk to them about it. And just as Eri said, like as soon as you're thinking to leave that man, there's someone else waiting to jump in. So, you start questioning your credibility, you start questioning yourself. Am I doing the right thing? Would I have this? Would I rather, work and, earn this certain amount of money, or would I just let someone give me the life that, I could only dream of? It can be a very tough position to be in. And she said a lot of things, like these things a partner was buying for her, it didn't cost him anything, it wasn't sacrifice. You could do it, or you
Yes.
were doing it because you could do it. It didn't cost you anything, and it was a
Exactly.
means to control her.
Mm.
And that's so true. That's what I see with a lot of um well, I've sort of heard of those experiences before where they just give you just enough. Sometimes you ask them for money. They don't give you the money. They just buy you things that you need
Buy you the
because they
stuff
don't
that you
want
need.
you using that money to buy your freedom. So
Exactly.
I, about after 4 or 5 years, and then you're saying, "Oh, like I'm out of this relationship. I got myself a very beautiful piece of, I got myself a very beautiful property or a sale of apartments or things like that." They don't want that for you. And that's what Eri says. That's not really love because it's not costing you anything. You're just doing it. And she also said, like, when he's unhappy, you have to be unhappy because nothing's gonna drop. Like, you're so dependent in that relationship, and it's not good for a relationship. It's better for a relationship to be codependent than
Yeah.
for one
Yeah.
person to be solely dependent on another person, because at the end of the day, like, you could be what's that word? Like, you could be replaced in an instance because you're
Exactly.
not very valuable. I don't know if you get what I mean, because
Yeah, I do. I
you're,
do. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, if with anything, you can be replaced instantly. Do you know what I mean? You can't be
yeah,
so dependent on an
yeah,
individual because, as you rightly mentioned, if something happened, you know, what happens? It's like you just fall off a cliff because there's no
yeah,
system,
yeah.
nothing
It's
supporting you from that. I mean,
such a difficult position to be in.
it is a difficult position to be in. But the thing also I really want to touch on is the judgment and external perception
Mm,
because now she rightly mentioned as well that what she was talking to a friend about it, and suddenly her friend started taking interest in a man and
yep,
trying to get in. I mean, sister would, hey, what can I say? But
yeah,
anyway, she's trying to get in. I'm thinking, and she's thinking to herself, mate, do you know what you're trying to get yourself into? That's not what I'm trying to tell you to do. But now
mm,
her friend is judging her and saying that, you know what, you're doing amazing, you're doing all right. I want to be on those holidays as well. I want to
yeah,
go on this trips you're doing. I want to have all these bags and all of that because of the external perception of the glass prison,
yeah,
because she's looking in from the outside. She can't hear the noise within the
mm,
confines of that prison, but she can only see, the perceived transparency of
yeah,
what's going on. So the challenge with that now, so if we bring it a bit home now, so that friend is looking, like most of the people do, like we all do. Then sometimes we use those kind of relationships as a
yeah,
basis of us
yep,
starting a new relationship or basis of judging that current relationship. Because then
yeah,
you're saying to your man or your woman, oh, can you see what how he's serving a husband? She's leaning down and giving him food. She's making him 3 meals a day because she's showing it on Instagram, and the guy's eating it there. But you don't know the hell the guy's actually going through in the house. Do you
no,
know what I
you
mean?
don't,
But
yeah,
they're
no
giving
idea.
you a perception of what's going on. On the other hand, as well, oh, can you see, my man? Can you see what her man is doing for her? He took her out on holiday. He's taking her out to eat in Mayfair. He's doing all of that. But do you know the hell she's actually going through? She might be even being smashed up like some domestic violence thing or emotional
Yeah,
violence type thing. But we don't know all that. We don't see all of that. We just have this external perception and use that to judge our own relationship. I mean,
mm.
what would you advise people when we talk about glass prisons and you looking in from the outside?
Oh, that is such a
Yeah. It's a very practical, but it's a reality though.
it really is. And I feel like a lot of, women are the ones in this position.
Mm.
And, it's so unfortunate that a lady would escape that glass prison and another lady is, just willing to imprison herself
No, yeah.
immediately as soon as the first one leaves. It's very unfortunate. Um, but the truth is, I feel like a lot of people, or some people, stay in glass prisons for different reasons, even though they're aware that, this situation might not be ideal for me. And I think we've touched on a few of them previously. But I also feel like people that are yet to reach like emotional maturity. So,
Mm.
for example, upbringing also plays a part in that. So, let's say that's the kind of household
Yeah.
that someone, grew up in where you're very dependent. Well, you should be dependent on your parents,
Mm.
but there's such a dependence that it becomes very unhealthy, right?
Mm.
If you
Yeah.
don't do certain things certain ways, you're not getting anything, and that's fine. Or like you can't even negotiate it.
Mm.
So if people who've been brought up in that, in that manner, and they find themselves in a toxic relationship, that's all they've ever known. To
Mm.
them, that's their definition of normal. So I think emotional maturity also plays a role, and it's, thank God Eris shared her story. She got to the point where she realized like this is not love.
Mm.
If you love someone, I shouldn't feel this way because I felt when you loved me, I could feel that, but this one is not love, and it gets to a point where you like turn around and you say no. I was gonna say something. The glass prison is sometimes it's not physical, right? It's not violence. It's just there's just such an invisible barrier that keeps you from being yourself, and it could be emotional, it could be mental. So in any form of way that you feel like you're restricted, you're not really yourself. That could be, um, form of glass prison. So I feel like the ultimate question is to ask, like, am I the true expression of myself in this relationship? Am I my true self in this relationship? And if the answer to that is no, then maybe we need to start asking the questions, what exactly is going on here? Because you could be in a glass prison.
Yeah. I mean, you're spot on. You need to start asking yourself the questions, because you're saying to yourself, there's no freedom. You're saying to
Yeah.
yourself, I'm so dependent on this person. The connection is fragile. Does it really love me or does she really love me? Why am I here? Am I feeling safe or am I just here for the material gain? Am I here for
Yeah.
my social status? Am I here just to prove something to the outside world? Am I here because I'm worried I want to be judged? Please, yes, Karen.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Question just jumped into my mind as you were saying that. Do you think that the partner was the controlling person? Do you feel or do you think that they sometimes know that these women are with me because of what I have to offer, because of my money, and
Mhm.
that's why they sometimes display that sort of behavior? Because if you've been in this relationship where you're just used to being used
Hmm.
as an ATM
Wow.
machine. Women are just there to get what they want. Like no one's really there for the love. They're just there to use you for the time,
I like
get
that.
what they want, wipe them out, and leave. Do you think that's why they sort of behave in that certain way? Because they believe that no one can genuinely love them, for who they are, because people are just there for what they have.
So you just flipped it. You just flipped the glass prison scenario there because we're looking at the individual who has all the power
Yeah.
being the prison owner,
Mm-hmm.
and the other person who is dependent is the one who's the hostage in a way
Yeah.
in the glass prison. But now
Yeah.
you reverse the role, which is quite true. That is it now the person who thinks he's the owner is actually the prisoner
The prisoner, right?
in
That is so true. Yeah.
in a
I
glass
like how
prison.
you've put it.
Yeah, because is it because he's so used to just spending money because that's the
Yeah.
only thing he thinks he can offer,
Mm,
and people just come in and go as they please. So he's this kind of found himself in a position where he has to behave in a certain way,
yeah.
which is almost controlling.
Mm,
I mean, we can actually say, yeah, he's in a glass prison, and he or she needs to find a way out. Because now,
right.
if we reverse it, okay, now do we call that freedom as well,
Mm,
or do we call that someone who has truly experienced what love is?
that is definitely a form of imprisonment.
It is a form of imprisonment. Also, do we also look at it and say that maybe the person wants to feel, you know, a certain social status that yes, I have a man or I have a woman.
Mm,
You know, I mean, that is a wonderful way to kind of like flip it around, because it's true.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking at it in one way, that is this person, the one that has all the power is the one that's free. But no, he's not free as well,
No, it's not. No, it's not.
because
Yeah.
he can't truly experience that individual who is just there
Yeah.
because of what they're getting.
Mm.
Because in a way, he's being used without realizing, he or she's being used as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
So it's such a conundrum.
Yeah.
I think both or both parties,
They're both prisoners.
they're both prisoners. That's if I mean, that's the case, isn't it? So
Yeah.
what is the way forward? Way forward is find out, ask yourself the questions. Why is this person with me?
Mm.
Why am I in that relationship? Because it's self-damage. It still goes back to the mental health, because at some point
Yeah.
there will be a mental breakdown, because at the end of the day you're thinking to yourself, what's going on? Because there'll be
Hmm.
an impact, because
Yeah.
you would have emotional burnout, or or some emotional health struggles, because at some point you're going to look at or feel or come across a very genuine relationship, and
Mm.
understand what a relationship should be like, or what a loving relationship be like, and think to yourself, oh my God, what have I been doing all these years? Because in
Yeah.
a way you might think this is the relationship, this is the way, this is what I know, but
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean is the right way. Because
Yeah.
I mean, your scenario just took me to another another place there, because that individual who seems to have all the power as well is always still scrutinizing the person
Mm-hmm.
as dependent
Yeah.
on, still always checking on that, where are you, what you going, where you, do you know what I mean? There's this
Yeah.
emotional, you know part in the head that they're a slave to that, in a way, because
Yeah.
there's never assurance that they're totally their one, because now they want to restrict where they go, they want to
Mm.
restrict what they buy, as Iris said, they want to restrict who they see, because they want to be there always. I want to, the other person says, I want to invest in business, invest in a house. No, you can't. You want a bag? Here you go. So eventually they're going to burn out as well. It's such a crazy thing. But I really want to, look at, with the last couple of minutes that we have um on the show, is look at from that perspective of the cycle of preventing individuals of falling into glass prison. What do I mean by that? You're an individual, maybe in a relationship or maybe not in a relationship, and you've come across a friend of yours or someone you know, and they seem so perfect for each other. Again, the transparency, the illusion of transparency, the perceived transparency, that people are seeing. You're thinking to yourself, oh my God, they look amazing, they look wonderful, because that's what you can see from the outside. Then you want to base your relationship on that, not trying to create your own type of relationship. Well, because you now find someone who's willing to give you what you perceived to be an ideal relationship, but they want to be controlling.
Mm.
But in that moment, you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, my friend has got that. I want to be able to tell my friend too that I went on holiday. I want to be able to tell my friend too, I've got, been to this restaurant in Mayfair. Then you allow yourself to be in a glass prison, because you want to showcase the same level or the same social status as your friend. Are you with me? So it's a cycle.
Yeah.
Rather than understanding and having a self worth, because Iris discovered a self worth.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She discovered that, no, this is me. I am more worthy than to be controlled by physical, my money and all of that. I can work for my money. I can do stuff for my money. I can do stuff for myself.
Mm.
But at the point where you submit yourself into a prison, all your self worth is vanished. It might seem wonderful at the initial stage,
Yeah.
but again, social media makes this very easy.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a philosopher this evening.
No, preach, preach.
You know, social media makes it very easy for individuals to look at what's going on in there and want to emulate that and say, you know what, I must do this as well. Then you have the younger generation or the Gen Z as is mentioned, to say, you know, let's do this, let's do that. This is what's happening, kind of thing.
Mm.
So it's insane.
It is.
Saying that it's a saying that it's so important. Okay, we are having some messages on there. I mean, I'm going to read out some. Elite Horizon Homes, thank you for tuning in as well. I'm just going to read some of the comments here on YouTube at the moment. He said the control shift is a very interesting uh, topic. I feel like for us to reverse the role and the man to not be seen as a prisoner, he will have to be there against his will or without getting what they want. True. However, the man is choosing this route because this is what he likes, and this is how he manages to get what he wants without the other party complaining. They strive of the control. It reassures them that they are in control. It's almost like mental health. Right. I mean, I hear that. It's an interesting. I want to go back to the control shift is a very interesting thing. Yeah, but the for us to reverse the role, the man is not seen as a prisoner. It would have to be there against his will or without getting what they want. Again, he's saying the man not there being. Yeah, I hear that. However, the man is choosing this route because is what he likes, and this is how he manages to get what he wants without the other party complaining. Okay, I'm very careful not to start something there because that last
Yep.
paragraph there, because sometimes you see men sometimes put themselves. I think Lady B already knows what I'm going through there.
Yep.
Men put themselves in a glass prison for rubbish things, mate.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Let's
Mhm.
call a spade a spade. A man could put himself in prison because of physical appearance of a woman.
Yep.
You understand? Because he wants to be seen with that woman on the hand. That
Yeah.
look at my woman, man. She got figure eight, man. She's banging. You understand? But that
Mhm.
woman is giving you hell in the house.
Yeah.
She's not. Your mind is not at rest. You understand? So that the point. A little Horizon Holmes. Thank you for commenting there. So the man is choosing this route because he likes. This is what he likes, and this is how he managed to get what he wants without the other party complaining. Because now the woman, in this case now, knows that the man is obsessed with what he's seeing. You understand?
Yep.
Obsessed. The guy don't hear don't scatter. He that's all he can see now. So the woman is just doing all sorts and is like, yeah, it's fine. My boys are giving me props. Everybody's giving me, but this is my girl kind of thing. It is shocking. It is
Yeah,
shocking.
I mean, I don't 100% agree with that. And
Yeah.
the reason is, I think, unless I misunderstood, the reason is so the listener has said that the man is in a glass prison
Yeah.
because he chose to be in that situation for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'm not victim shaming, but it's the same for women as well,
Mm,
right? Some women in these glass prisons chose to be in that situation, right? I don't think anybody's forcing anyone unless there's a voodoo involved, right?
yeah.
And some of them are in that glass prison because of what they can get from the man as
Mm,
well. So
mm,
I don't think anyone is in a glass, prison. I mean, it's your choice at the end of the day. Sometimes you don't know. You just, find yourself, it's deeper than you thought. You
mm,
just thought it was, oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It didn't get worse, right? But at the end of the day, like it's a choice that you're in that relationship. So I think it's the same for the man and the woman. So
mm.
that's why I don't completely agree with that listener.
Okay. I mean, he or she has come back and said, what I was trying to uh,
Yeah.
say is men or anyone creating glass prisons because they thrive off control, because they like to control. That's
Okay.
that's
Okay.
why
So
they
men or anyone, yeah.
men and anyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
which is true. But what do you give up for control? I mean, I am balancing this thing now because I'm thinking about the comment I made earlier where men will enter a glass prison because they want to
is a-
control. Are they controlling or they being controlled? You understand?
Oh, that is such a great question. It
Or is a woman being,
goes both ways.
do you know what I mean? Is it good?
Yeah.
I mean, because a woman saying, okay, I want to go with this man because I want to have this social status thing now,
Hmm.
you know, enters the glass prison. you know, consciously, no
Yeah.
force, nothing. They go in there, but sometimes it goes sour down the line. But at that point, do they think they're controlling the man or the man
Yeah.
controlling them?
And I feel like once it gets to a point where there's like a clash of control, then they have to go their separate ways because
Yeah,
that's not gonna work.
yeah,
Yeah, when there's a realization like we're both controlling each other, it's a different thing when a woman knows she's being controlled and when the man knows he's being controlled. Like, one person is being dominant, the other person is being submissive. But when it's like there's like two people in control, they're just like, nah,
yeah. I
they
mean,
have to go separate ways.
you,
That's
you
why.
men- yeah, you mentioned dominance there, and I kind of like made me think quickly that okay, so when someone is in a glass prison, when the domination is overbearing, that's when
Yeah.
that's when the issue is, red flag, get out.
Mhm.
So it brings it back to our amazing caller areas that called earlier.
Yeah.
It's like because sometimes you know what, being submissive. People would say women can be naturally submissive when you provide for them,
Mm.
which is understandable. You know, so when you provide for a woman, it not necessarily mean you're putting her in a glass prison. Let's be clear on that one.
Yeah.
But when the dominance
Mm.
provision is now affecting her mental health,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's emotionally isolating her,
Yeah.
not giving her that freedom,
Yeah.
trying to restrict her from doing certain things because you're providing for her. And she's so
Yeah.
dependent on you. And you know that because she can't go anywhere else. You know that this is the only place she's going to get her financial resources from.
Yeah.
Then I think that's where it becomes a problem.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think the provision itself is not a problem, but when you use it as a tool to
Mm,
control your partner or your spouse, that's when it becomes a problem. That's when, to the point that just we circle it back, when it starts affecting their mental health, their emotional ability, they're isolated and things like that. They're not their true selves. That's when it becomes like a mental prison. But I had a question I was gonna ask.
mm.
I know we're about to round off and all of that, but do you think that it's possible to break out of a glass prison without destroying the relationship or
Mm.
without breaking the glass?
Wow. Wow. Can a prisoner escape without breaking the rules? That's really the
Mm,
question there. Can a
yeah,
prisoner escape without breaking the rules? I mean, I think it's possible. But the thing here is, what is the dynamic of that relationship? Because sometimes let's look at the dynamic. Because if it's a dynamic where it's just a physical type of relationship, because the
yeah,
man wants that sexual gratification from the woman, and he's not ready for any kind of like emotional
yeah,
attachment, or don't try and chat me up, or do you know what I mean? Don't be emotional about me. Do you know what I mean? You know that one, the rules are set. So if you're trying to break out of that prison, that's the end of that relationship.
mm,
But when we talk about a relationship where maybe it started off as a loving relationship, then maybe then evolve gradually to some type of
okay,
you know obsession where now the man is now providing 100%. Maybe now you moved in,
mm,
woman moves in now, and now because she's moved in now, the man thinks, oh my man, I've got control over her now, and is now trying to put his dominance on the woman. But then the woman is saying, oh, listen, I'm here for love. you know
love, yeah,
I love it that you're buying me stuff. I love it that you're doing this for me. I love that you're doing all of that for me, but I want to be independent as well. So at
mm,
that point in time, if the man sees a future on the woman and thinks, okay, maybe I can relax my dominance so we can both excel together in the relationship, as you mentioned, codependency
mm,
within the relationship, then yes, that glass prison can be shattered, and give birth to an amazing relationship. So I think the basis of our relationship is very key. I mean,
yeah,
Elito Rising says, I guess that's when the prisoner is now being manipulated to get out. Oh yeah, I guess the prisoner is now being manipulated. Yeah, because yeah, the manipulation has occurred there. So the finding ways to escape from the relationship, but what kind of rules are set in place?
Yeah.
What kind of rules are holding them, you know, down in that relationship? I mean, without again, an amazing caller, Iris, if you're still listening, I'll say a big thank you for calling in. Um, you know, she realized that for her to break out of this glass prison, she has to shatter everything,
Yep.
because
Yeah.
she took herself forward and said, you know what, I can do this. I can do great things. I can make things happen. I can do me and
Mm-hmm.
excel, you know. And today now she's coming in here. It's brave of her to come
Yeah.
out
Very.
and share experience, and hopefully is liberated a couple of our listeners out there who might be in a glass prison. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, we've had the amazing Lady B here on the show. I mean, I've had a remarkable time. Lady B is always giving us some fire topics, always firing me up here on Double9Radio. I mean, but Lady B, what would you have to say to women or women who find themselves in a glass prison? And I'll take the other side of the admiration. But if you want to do the admiration or the other one, I don't mind. But what do you want to do? You want to tell people about who admire glass prisons or people within glass prisons? Which would you prefer to give a bit of advice on?
Okay. I'll just touch briefly on both.
Okay.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with admiring other people's relationships. There's nothing wrong with, seeing a beautiful glass house and saying, oh, that looks beautiful. I'd like that. However, when you set that as a standard or as a basis for your relationship and you make that, your expectation, without having a full idea of what's going on, which is what we're talking about, the glass prison, then that becomes a problem.
Mm,
The reality is, what we see on social media, sometimes we don't even see a quarter of it,
mm,
right? So you can't, base your life, your relationship, your future on someone else's, relationship that you have absolutely no idea what's going on. So the truth, just as you said previously, is like be self-aware. Your self-worth is very important, and then that's will sort of form a basis of what you expect in a relationship and in a partner. And then for those people, the girlies or the men who are in a glass prison, it is possible to break out of, a glass prison. Sometimes that will require you breaking the relationship and saying, you know what, my mental health is more important, than, being controlled by financial gains or whatever. My sense of self-worth is also very important because at the end of the day, you find out that you have very low self-esteem because your sense of importance and value is attached to someone else.
mm.
So at the end of the day, right, it is possible, but yeah, it is possible. It's a very difficult situation to be in, but it is possible to break out from that. Seek help from people that you trust, not, the toxic circle of people that you have, from someone that you can trust, someone that you can speak to. But yeah, it's very possible to break out of a glass prison.
Amazing, Lady B. Thank you very much on that. I mean, I'm just going to add to that, because you said it all. You said it all, and you said it spot on. If you're in a glass prison, sometimes we find ourselves in a glass prison. Sometimes we willingly go into a glass prison
Yep.
because of what societies say, because you want to be, social status recognition, family pressures, even work. Sometimes, we put ourselves in certain positions because we want to feel accepted. We want to feel important in certain, kind of environments. But the key thing here is, as Lady B mentioned, what is the cost to you? What is the
Mm,
cost of your mental health? What is the cost to your freedom?
mm,
What is the cost to you being, developing yourself? Doesn't mean you're going to be stagnated, because if you're dependent on someone, you're not able to fully express yourself as an individual. You're going to be stagnant. Your mental health could be affected as well. But again, sometimes we find ourselves in situations that could be a prison, but have ways to have conversations with our partner, with a family, to help us enable ourselves, release ourselves from this glass prison. So, but in order to understand whether you're in a glass prison or not, ask yourself the question: are you free? Are you happy? Are you self-sustaining? Are you moving forward, or are you stagnated? On the other hand, we have individuals looking inwards at individuals in a perceived transparency of a glass prison. But what you're looking at could not be the reality, could possibly not be the reality of of the relationship, of the true nature of that relationship. So be careful out there when you wish or assume or want to adopt something you see, maybe in social media or even in real life. My advice is create your own reality.
Yeah.
Create your own happiness. Create your own uniqueness. It's good to admire, but make sure what you admire just supports you in creating your own reality. Because when you create your own reality, your love is authentic, your happiness is authentic, your union is authentic. It's not dependent or solely dependent or has a foundation of what your friend is doing or what you see on social media. All in all, a glass prison is something we all want to evade. Freedom, both mentally, emotionally, and physically, is priceless. Free yourself from that glass prison, whether you're in or admiring one. It's been 35NSocial with the amazing Lady B here as well. Always having a blast time when we have Lady B here on Double9Radio. Make sure you do tune in next week as well, because sure she's going to be coming on with some amazing vibes and amazing topics as well. Lady B, it's always a pleasure to have you on Double9Radio.
Always a pleasure to be here with you as well.
Amazing. Again, a big thank you to all our listeners, wherever you are listening from. I want to say a big thank you. Make sure you do follow us on Instagram to keep up to date with information of our programs on this channel as well. And if you want to feature as well, do reach out to us and we'll gladly have you as a guest on our show. I want to say a big thank you to Iris, who called in and shared her amazing story. It's always amazing to hear a real life story and sings with us here on Double9Radio. A big thank you to all our people watching us live on Instagram, not on Instagram, on YouTube as well. A big shout out to Elite Horizon Homes. So look at that. We gave you some free advertising there. And also a big shout out to Esther logging in as well. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to have you here on Double9Radio. But in the meantime, stay locked on, stay locked in. It's always amazing here on Double9Radio. Got amazing tunes coming your way on Double9Radio. It's 1905, 2202, 2025. Is wonderful, is blessed, is great. Have a great weekend ahead, and we shall speak to you soon. Thank you.